Awakening the Forgotten Fleet. In a distant corner of the universe, where stars twinkled like scattered diamonds against a velvet backdrop, an ancient fleet lay dormant, hidden from the eyes of time. This fleet belonged to humanity, a once mighty force that had vanished into legend after a devastating war. Now, after decades of silence, it was about to awaken. The awakening. Admiral Sarah Klein stirred from her long slumber, her senses slowly returning as systems rebooted around her. The control room flickered to life, revealing a scene that felt both familiar and foreign. As she rubbed her eyes, memories flooded back, of battles fought valiantly against alien forces, of comrades lost, and of a galaxy that had changed while they slept. "Admiral, we are awake," a young crew member exclaimed, excitement lighting up their face. Klein turned to see faces filled with determination and hope. These were not just soldiers. They were the next generation of humanity, trained to protect their legacy. "Prepare for launch," she commanded, her voice steady and authoritative. "We have much to do." Understanding their mission. As preparations began, Klein gathered her crew around her. "Listen up. We are the forgotten fleet of humanity," she declared passionately. "Our ancestors fought bravely, and now it's our turn to defend our home. We must show this galaxy that we are back and will not be ignored." The crew nodded in agreement, their spirits ignited by her words. They were ready to rise from obscurity and reclaim their place among the stars. The state of the galaxy. With their ships ready for launch, Klein knew they needed information about the current state of the galaxy. Who were their allies? Who were their enemies? As they traveled through space, discussions filled the air about potential threats and opportunities. "Admiral," a tactical officer interrupted her thoughts, "we've detected multiple signals approaching fast." The tension in the room thickened as everyone exchanged wary glances. "Prepare for communication," Klein ordered. They needed to make their intentions clear before any misunderstandings could escalate into conflict. First contact. As they established communication with an approaching ship, Klein's heart raced. On screen appeared an imposing alien vessel, its design sharp and menacing, glowing lights shifting colors like oil on water. "This is Admiral Sarah Klein of the United Human Fleet," she announced firmly. "We come in peace and seek to understand our place in this galaxy." A moment passed before a deep voice responded from across space. "You are brave to speak, human." It was Captain Varric of the Xerian Empire, his expression unreadable but intrigued by their boldness. Klein felt a surge of determination as she continued speaking with Varric about their return and intentions. "We are not here to conquer but to coexist," she insisted, hoping to find common ground amidst uncertainty. Building trust. As discussions progressed, both sides recognized that trust would not come easily in a galaxy filled with power struggles. Varric shared stories of recent conflicts involving various factions. The fear that gripped many species at news of humanity's return was palpable. Klein listened carefully, understanding that they needed allies if they were to survive in this new reality. "Can we work together?" she asked earnestly. Varric narrowed his eyes, but nodded slowly. Perhaps there was hope yet for cooperation between their peoples. Preparing for challenges ahead. As tensions rose, alarms suddenly blared on the bridge. "Admiral, incoming ships," an officer shouted urgently. Klein's heart raced again. This was their first real test since awakening. "What's their status?" she demanded. "Unknown. They could be hostile," came the reply. "Prepare for battle," Klein commanded, feeling adrenaline surge through her veins as she rallied her crew into action. They had come too far to back down now. They would face whatever challenges awaited them together. The spirit of humanity. As they prepared for combat alongside Varric's forces, Klein felt pride swell within her chest. This was more than just a fight. It was a testament to humanity's spirit. They were no longer forgotten. They were back in action and ready to forge a new destiny among the stars. With weapons primed and hearts united, they stood on the brink of something monumental. a chance not just for survival, but for redefining what it meant to be human in a vast universe, filled with both danger and possibility. The battle ahead would test them in ways they could not yet imagine, but together they would rise again, ready to reclaim their legacy as warriors among galaxies once more. A message to the galaxy. The call for unity. As the U.S. Valor floated amidst the stars, Admiral Sarah Klein stood resolute on the bridge. The recent skirmish had ignited a fire within her crew, and now it was time to harness that energy. "Let's send out a call for all Allied ships to gather here," Klein instructed, her voice steady and commanding. "We need to form a united front. We can't let the Council think we are weak." The crew sprang into action, sending messages across the galaxy. They'd reached out to old allies and potential friends, spreading the word of humanity's return. Klein turned her attention back to Captain Varric of the Zirian Empire, who had proven to be a valuable ally. "We also need to communicate with other worlds," she said, urgency in her tone. "The Council must know that we will not stand down. We will fight for our right to exist." Varric's eyes brightened with determination. "Yes, we should reach out to any systems that may support us. Together, we can form a new order, one that protects our rights." Gathering allies. Days passed as Allied ships began to gather in the Valor's docking bays. Leaders from various species convened, each one nervous yet hopeful about the future. Klein felt the weight of responsibility pressing down on her as she prepared to address the gathering. "Thank you all for coming," she began, her voice steady and filled with conviction. "Today, we stand united against a common enemy. The Galactic Council believes they can dictate our futures, but we will show them that we are strong together. We will not bow to their threats or their rules." A buzz of agreement filled the room as Varric stood beside her, his presence commanding respect. "We must create a council of our own, a coalition that respects all species and protects our freedom. Together, we can bring about a new order." The representatives nodded, their faces reflecting a mix of determination and hope. They spent hours discussing plans and strategies on how to strengthen their alliance. Klein knew they had to be smart. The Council was powerful and would likely retaliate. The coalition takes shape. As the meeting concluded, Klein felt a renewed sense of purpose. They were no longer just survivors. They were fighters ready to reshape the galaxy's future. The newly formed coalition would not allow the Galactic Council to dictate their fates any longer. Weeks turned into months as the coalition grew stronger. Ships from different worlds joined forces, sharing technology and knowledge. Klein worked closely with Varric and other leaders to establish communication channels and defense strategies. They were creating a force that could rival the Council. However, not everyone welcomed this change. Rumors spread throughout the galaxy that the Galactic Council was preparing a massive counterattack against them. One morning, an officer burst onto the bridge with urgent news. "Admiral, we've intercepted communications from the Council," she reported, her voice trembling with urgency. "They plan to strike our coalition within the next month." Klein's heart raced at this revelation. "We need to act fast," she replied decisively. "Let's spread the word to our allies and prepare for the worst. We have to stand together." Fortifying defenses. The coalition worked tirelessly fortifying their defenses and preparing their fleets for battle. Klein felt a surge of determination. They had come too far to turn back now. They were fighting not just for survival, but for the right to choose their own destinies. As days passed, Klein stood on the bridge of the U.S. Valor, watching stars flicker against the darkness of space like distant dreams waiting to be realized. The coalition was ready. She could sense a shift in the galaxy. The old order was crumbling while a new one was rising in its place. "All ships are ready," an officer announced, breaking her reverie. "Good," Klein replied, her voice filled with conviction. "Let's show the Council that we will not be silenced. We will fight for our freedom and will not stop until we achieve it." The calm before the storm. As preparations continued for what lay ahead, Klein felt fierce pride for her crew and their allies. Together they had forged a new path in the galaxy where they could stand united against any threat. In distant corners of space, various factions watched closely as humanity re-emerged from obscurity. Some were intrigued. Others were fearful of what this resurgence might mean for their own power dynamics. Meanwhile, within the Galactic Council chambers, fear gripped its members as they discussed humanity's return in hushed tones. What if they seek revenge? One council member asked nervously. They are no longer a threat, another replied dismissively. They have been gone too long. They cannot possibly regain their strength. But deep down, they all knew better. Stories of human bravery and cunning still echoed through history like whispers carried on solar winds. Preparing for battle. Back on board U.S. Valor, Klein reviewed battle strategies with Varric and other coalition leaders late into each night as tension mounted in anticipation of an impending confrontation. We must be ready for anything, Varric emphasized during one such meeting, his green skin glistening under dim lights as he leaned forward earnestly. Klein nodded in agreement. This was more than just a fight. It was about survival and reclaiming their place among the stars. As days turned into weeks again, rumors intensified surrounding council movements. Fleets amassing near key locations throughout known space indicated something big was coming. Admiral, another officer called out one morning while monitoring incoming signals from distant systems across their scanners, this time with urgency lacing his voice once more. We've detected multiple ships approaching fast. Klein's heart quickened as she exchanged worried glances with Varric before barking orders at her crew. Prepare for battle. Let's show them what humanity is made of. A new dawn with weapons primed and hearts united against an unseen enemy lurking just beyond their reach. The stage was set for an epic confrontation that would determine not only humanity's fate, but also reshape intergalactic politics forevermore. As adrenaline surged through her veins alongside those around her, the spirit of humanity ignited anew. It became clear this was just beginning. Battles lay ahead, but so did opportunities for unity amongst diverse species willing enough to stand together against oppression, with resolve shining brightly within every ship gathered under one banner. They would rise against the gathering storm. As the U.S. Valor floated in the vastness of space, Admiral Sarah Klein felt a sense of urgency. The coalition had formed, but they were still vulnerable. News of the Galactic Council's impending strike loomed over them like a dark cloud. Klein knew that to survive, they needed more than just courage. They needed allies. Captain Varric, she called, her voice echoing through the bridge. We need to reach out to other species. We must show them that our coalition is strong and united against the Council. Varric nodded, his green skin shimmering under the bridge lights. I agree, Admiral. We should send envoys to the nearby systems. If we can convince them to join us, we will have a better chance against the Council. Reaching out, Klein quickly organized a team of diplomats and strategists. They prepared messages and made plans to visit key planets that had previously been allies of humanity. As they set off on their missions, Klein felt a mix of hope and anxiety. Would these worlds remember humanity? Would they trust them again? The first stop was the planet Thetler, known for its rich resources and fierce warriors. As their ship descended into Thetler's atmosphere, Klein felt a sense of nostalgia wash over her. This planet had once been a strong ally, but centuries had passed since humans had last set foot here. Upon landing, they were greeted by Thelorian guards, their armor gleaming in the sunlight. State your business, one guard demanded, his voice deep and authoritative. Klein stepped forward confidently. I am Admiral Sarah Klein of the United Human Fleet. We seek an alliance with Valor against the Galactic Council. A test of trust. The guards exchanged glances before escorting Klein and her team to a grand hall filled with Thelorian leaders. The room was adorned with intricate carvings depicting their history, a history that included battles fought alongside humanity. Why should we trust you? Asked the Thelorian leader, a tall figure with piercing blue eyes. You vanished without a trace. What makes you think we will stand by your side now? In quiet moments aboard the Valor, Klein often found herself gazing out at space, its vastness both comforting and daunting at once. She pondered what lay ahead. Would they be ready when faced with overwhelming odds? Would their coalition hold strong against powerful forces determined to maintain control? As she stood there lost in thought one evening after another long day of strategizing, an officer approached her cautiously. "Admiral," he said softly yet urgently as he handed her a data pad displaying incoming intelligence reports from scouts monitoring Council movements nearby. "We've detected significant fleet activity near our borders." Klein's heart raced as she scanned through the information quickly. It confirmed her worst fears. The Council was preparing for war. A call to arms. Gathering her senior officers on deck immediately after absorbing this news, she addressed them with unwavering resolve. "It's time we show them what we're made of. Prepare our forces for battle. We must be ready." With adrenaline coursing through their veins, the crew sprang into action once more as alarms blared throughout Valor, signaling readiness drills commencing across all decks. As ships began moving into formation around them, the atmosphere buzzed with anticipation. This was it, the moment they had been preparing for since awakening from slumber. Klein felt pride swell within her chest, knowing that together they would face whatever challenges awaited them, head-on with determination, igniting every heart aboard. The coalition stood united against tyranny, ready to reclaim their destinies. The gathering clouds of war. The atmosphere aboard the U.S. Valor was electric with anticipation. Admiral Sarah Klein stood at the helm, her eyes scanning the viewscreen, which displayed the vastness of space dotted with stars and the silhouettes of Allied ships. They had prepared for this moment, but the weight of what lay ahead pressed heavily on her shoulders. The Galactic Council was not going to take their resurgence lightly. They would retaliate. "Admiral," a young officer reported, breaking her concentration. "We've received intelligence that the Galactic Council is amassing a fleet near the Zeta Quadrant. They're planning a significant strike against us." Klein's heart sank as she processed this information. "How many ships are we talking about?" she asked, her voice steady despite the turmoil within. "Preliminary scans indicate at least 50 warships, heavily armed," the officer replied, anxiety creeping into his tone. "Prepare our forces," Klein commanded, her resolve hardening. "We need to be ready to defend our coalition. We cannot let them crush our spirit before we even have a chance to fight back." Rallying the coalition. As alarms blared throughout the ship, Klein gathered her senior officers for an emergency briefing. Captain Varick stood beside her, his expression serious. "We must inform our allies immediately," he said. "If we're going to stand a chance against this force, we need every ship ready for battle." Klein nodded in agreement. "Send out a call to all coalition members. We need them here at Valor within 24 hours. We'll strategize together and prepare for the fight of our lives." The crew worked swiftly, sending messages across the galaxy to their newfound allies. As they awaited responses, Klein felt a mix of hope and dread. Would they all arrive in time? Would they be able to unite against such overwhelming odds? Allies assemble. Within hours, ships from various species began to arrive at the Valor's docking bays, each one representing a different culture and history, all united under one common goal: survival against tyranny. As leaders gathered in the war room, Klein felt a surge of pride wash over her. She stood before them, ready to address their fears and uncertainties. "Thank you all for coming on such short notice," she began, her voice steady yet filled with emotion. "We face an unprecedented threat from the Galactic Council, a force that seeks to extinguish our flame before it can truly burn bright again." Murmurs of agreement spread through the room as she continued. "But we are not alone. Together, we have the power to fight back and reclaim our destinies." Varick stepped forward, his voice booming with authority. "This is not just about humanity. It's about all of us. We must show them that we will not be intimidated. We will stand together as one." Planning their defense. The leaders discussed strategies late into the night, each contributing their unique knowledge and experience to devise a plan that could withstand the Council's onslaught. Admiral, one of the Xilarian commanders, spoke up during their discussions. We have advanced cloaking technology that may allow us to sneak past their defenses. That could give us an edge, Klein replied thoughtfully. If we can gather intelligence on their fleet movements without being detected, we might find a weakness we can exploit. As they crafted their plan, Klein felt a sense of unity forming among them, a bond forged in shared purpose and determination, the calm before chaos. With plans in place and allies prepared for battle, Klein took a moment to reflect on how far they had come since awakening from dormancy. What had once been a forgotten fleet was now a formidable coalition, ready to face down tyranny. However, doubt crept into her mind as she gazed out at the stars through the Valor's viewport. Would their combined strength be enough? Would they be able to withstand whatever the Council threw at them? Admiral, an officer interrupted her thoughts, pointing at the scanner display. Incoming ships detected. They're approaching fast. Klein's heart raced as she turned back toward her crew. Battle stations. All hands prepare for combat. The battle begins. As alarms blared throughout the ship and crew members scrambled into position, Klein felt adrenaline surge through her veins. This was it, the moment they had prepared for. The view screen displayed dozens of enemy ships emerging from hyperspace, massive vessels adorned with menacing weaponry and glowing insignias of the Galactic Council. Admiral, Varric shouted over the chaos as he took his place beside her at the command console. They're launching fighters. Divert power to shields, Klein commanded, gripping the armrest tightly as she focused on maintaining control amidst the chaos unfolding before them. The first wave of enemy fighters surged toward them like a swarm of angry hornets, a flurry of lasers lighting up space as both sides engaged in combat. A test of resolve. Klein barked orders as her crew responded with precision. Each member knew their role well by now. Ships from various factions joined forces alongside humanity's fleet, lasers firing back and forth across space as explosions lit up the darkness. Keep formation, Klein shouted as enemy fire rained down around them. She could feel tension mounting within herself and among her crew. This was more than just a battle. It was a test of their resolve. As enemy ships closed in on Valor's position, Varric's voice cut through the noise once more. We need to flank them. If we can draw their fire away from our allies. I'll take care of it. Klein interrupted decisively. She initiated evasive maneuvers while coordinating with other ships in their formation, her heart pounding as they executed complex strategies designed to confuse and disorient their attackers. Turning tides. With every passing moment, it became clear that this battle would not be easily won. Both sides fought fiercely, neither willing to back down. But as adrenaline coursed through her veins alongside those around her, the spirit of humanity ignited anew. It became clear this was just beginning. Battles lay ahead, but so did opportunities for unity amongst diverse species willing enough to stand together against oppression. Klein felt pride swell within her chest, knowing that together they would face whatever challenges awaited them head-on. Suddenly, an explosion rocked Valor's hull. Alarms blared loudly throughout every corridor, as crew members scrambled frantically around them, trying desperately to maintain control amidst chaos. Damage report. Klein shouted urgently while gripping onto anything nearby for stability, her heart racing as fear threatened to overtake reason. Shields holding at 70%. An officer yelled back through gritted teeth while working furiously at his console, trying desperately to stabilize systems under duress. Klein nodded resolutely. They would not falter now. They would push through this storm together. The final push, as battle raged on around them. The tide began shifting slowly but surely towards victory. Humanity's resilience shone brightly amidst darkness, threatening everything they held dear. With renewed determination coursing through every ship within coalition ranks, they pressed forward relentlessly against overwhelming odds, refusing ever again let fear dictate actions. Finally, after hours spent fighting tooth and nail against Council forces, their combined efforts began yielding results. Enemy ships started retreating under pressure from relentless attacks coming from every direction. Klein felt exhilaration wash over her as victory drew closer. This was only just beginning. There were still challenges ahead, but today marked something monumental. The day humanity reclaimed its place among stars. A new dawn. As silence fell upon battlefield once more, victorious cheers erupted throughout valor, echoing across communication channels, linking Allied vessels together, celebrating hard-won triumphs, achieved through unity forged under fire. Klein stood tall amidst jubilant celebrations, feeling pride swell within every fiber of being, knowing that together they'd faced insurmountable odds and emerged stronger than ever before. But deep down inside, she knew this wasn't simply about winning battles. It was about forging lasting relationships built upon trust, respect, understanding, all vital components necessary if peace were ever truly achieved throughout galaxy once more. As night descended upon horizon, stretching infinitely beyond reach, a new dawn emerged, signaling hope reborn anew amidst darkness, threatening everything once held dear.